What is up, everyone? Circon here, bringing you guys today's Advent Calendar, day 5, and it's a Type 62. It will set you back about 26 bucks and 19 bucks if you buy it in-game. The big difference here is, of course, just like all the other ones, that you get premium accounts for 30 days, you get a little bit of gold, and you get 25 missions for times 5 XP for each victory. So, unless you already have a lot of premium account days, buying this version is a bit better, unless you've already stocked up a lot of gold on your account through some means, or I don't know, somehow through World of Warplanes or something. Then just buy it in game for 19 bucks, right? Yeah, and it's pretty decently priced. I mean, it's always expensive, right? The world tanks, premium tanks are always expensive. Like, in the grand scheme of things, you're paying a lot of money for just a single digital tank, right? But hey, but in those prices, this is not the worst, for tier 7. And having 3 marks almost every scout tank in the game, including some doubles even, I can actually recommend this. Tier 7, for me, is one of the best scout tiers in the game, because you're finding a lot of tier 6, 7, and 8s. And at tier 8, a lot of them will have full view range, because there's a lot of premiums that have good crews. But at tier 6 and 7, especially at tier 7, it's more of a grinding tier than the other ones, which means there's people walking around with 6 cents and a couple of crew skills, but probably not full view range and stuff like this. So you can actually sneak around a bit more at tier 7 than you ever can at some of the other tiers. And tier 7, with the new matchmaking, I feel like I get better matchmaking in my tier 7 light tanks than I do in my tier 6 light tanks. I'm not sure how that goes, but I guess the template system kind of screws over the tier 6s somehow, some way. And I feel like the tier 7 is in a decent spot. And being a light tank, you also tend to give a little bit less of a fuck about the matchmaking. So what do you get if you buy it? Well, you get over 2k DPM right away, 180 alpha per shot, 145 pen, and it has a whopping 220 pen on the heat. And also the crew layout is perfect for the entire tech tree, because they're all the same layout. They all have commander, driver, loader, and the loader is also a radio guy. So it's perfect for crew training if you're looking to get that. It's basically unnerfed. It used to be kind of poor compared to the other tier 7 scouts. But nowadays, with all the buffs to it, it is actually pretty damn decent. The biggest thing you'll notice if you play a lot of scout tanks at tier 7 is that this thing just has a little bit less engine power, which is a little bit noticeable. You're a little bit slower than all the other tier 7 scouts, basically. Especially in starting up. Like, your top speed is still 60, which is fine. But yeah, the other thing you'll notice is that you have 5 degrees of gun depression, so you have to kind of play around that a little bit. And what is nice though is, because it never got like nerfed in any way, is that it has still pretty high pen values. Because, well, it didn't get nerfed. The regular tier 7 Chinese also has pretty high pen values, but compared to some of the other ones at tier 7, if you take a look at compared to the LTG, it has one less, but the LTG, I believe his APCR is a little bit worse. You see, 194. So with 220, that is pretty noticeable, right? So even if you're going to meet some tier 8 and some tier of the tier 9s, you'll have a little bit of an easier time. Do keep in mind, though, that it's heat and not APCR, which some of you might find annoying, right? I'm usually in that camp, so I'd rather have APCR. But hey, it is what it is. So I think it's a pretty decent tank. I think it's a fun tank as well. You also have to keep in mind, though, that a lot of people are playing the LT432 right now, like currently. This will probably die off in like a week or two. But a lot of the tier 8 matchmaking that you'll see will have one of those, and those things will just kick your teeth in. But if you manage to be top tier a couple of times, or fight around your own tier, like tier 6 and 7, more so than 8, you'll actually have a pretty decent time in this. View range of 390 base is also really good, of course. So you don't need an absolute max crew to get the most out of it. You can actually go pretty far just with optics already. So yeah, pretty nice. This is what it kind of looks like fully kitted out. 2400 TPM is nice. I do like this kind of gun where it's kind of like 4.45 reload for 180 damage. I kind of like these guns. It's a good mixture between alpha and it also has the 300 HE, by the way, which is really, really nice. You can screw over a lot of lower tier tanks or even your own tier tanks like the if they have absolute no like the Rheinmetall Tech 3 tanks you can screw over so hard with some HE. So I always carry a couple of those shells, not a lot, just enough. And artillery becomes one-shotable with this HE as well around your tier level. So yeah, it's pretty nice compared to all the other light tanks that are compared to it. So the WZ-131 and the LTG are the biggest comparisons. You will notice that it's pretty on par with all of them, except like I said, in the engine power and power to weight ratios here. So you can see that it is a bit sluggish. For some reason. It does have better terrain resistance in hard and medium, but not actually on soft. So yeah, you are a bit more sluggish. If you can live with that, it's definitely worth a purchase. If you like scout tanks in general, you'll have a good time with this as well. It is a premium. It will make you some money. It is tier 7 and a scout though, so don't expect huge amounts of credits every game. But you know, if you're a fan of scout tanks, I think it's worth a purchase. The Chinese light tanks in general, like the tech tree, I think they're all good except the tier 9, which is really weird because I think most people will actually like the tier 9 because tier 9 is such a, let's say, easy tier to play. But for some reason, the tier 9 just rubs me the wrong way, and it mostly comes down to the gun it gets. It just has a really awkward reload time for alpha that it gets. So, but the tier 10 is still pretty good. The tier 8, 7, 6, and 5 are all fine as well, in my humble opinion. And I've free marked all of them, except the tier 10 actually. So yeah, it's worth a purchase if you like scout tanks. It's worth a purchase if you want the crew trainer. Do keep in mind as well, though, you can obviously also get a Type 64. We all know this by now. That's in the tech tree. You know, Type 64, which is always a lot cheaper. So if you don't want to spend the full money, I think I'm not sure how expensive this is, but the only thing that's awkward about this is that it has a radio man besides the loader, instead of the loader being also the radio guy. So for crew training purposes, this is a little bit shittier actually. But I mean, this should be cheaper, right? So you can always keep this in mind as well. People always steal club in the Type 64. It's still a gnarly tank, but the Type 62 should not be overlooked. And yeah, I think it's pretty decent. So again, 19 euros base, 26 euros in the tech in the shop. I definitely have played this tank though, so I'll put up some videos on it. It should be on the screen right now next to the subscribe button. So subscribe if you haven't already. Hopefully you're enjoying these daily advent calendar videos. This was day 5. Thank you a lot for tuning in. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.